For the longest time, right, hotel quality was all about a clipboard and a checklist. But what happens when the guest in room 305 spots something that the inspector completely missed? Well, today, we're diving into how artificial intelligence is closing that very gap, creating a new, much more complete standard for quality in hospitality.
Hello and welcome. As a hotel AI expert who spent years in modern hospitality operations, it's a real pleasure to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to your online learning journey. We're about to explore how technology is fundamentally changing the way we measure and achieve excellence in our industry.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the traditional methods and, well, where they fall short. Then, we'll get into the good stuff, harnessing all that valuable guest feedback. From there, we'll see AI analysis in action, learn how to pull everything together for a complete picture, and finally, wrap it up by looking at the cycle of service excellence.
Okay, let's kick things off with the traditional way of doing things, the internal inspection. I mean, for decades, this was the absolute bedrock of quality control, especially in housekeeping. But as we're about to see, it really only gives us one side of the story, the internal view.
So think about it like this. On one side, you've got your internal checklist. It's totally objective, right? It's all about your internal standards, measuring things you can predict. Is the bed made? Is the trash empty? Check, check. But then, you have guest perception, and that's a whole different ballgame. It's subjective, based entirely on their experience, and often driven by an emotional reaction to tiny details that probably aren't even on your list.
So if that internal view is just one piece of the puzzle, where do we find the rest? The answer is pretty clear, isn't it? It's all about harnessing the voice of the customer, your guests. And believe me, that voice is everywhere. You see it in reviews on online travel agencies, like Booking.com. It's in those post-stay surveys we all get. It's popping up in comments on social media. And of course, it's in the face-to-face feedback guests give your team. The real challenge here? This data is massive, it's messy, and it's coming at you from all directions at once.
And that's precisely where technology steps in to become our most powerful ally. So let's get into the exciting part, AI analysis in action. We're going to see how it takes that absolute avalanche of comments and transforms it into data you can actually use. So what's the magic trick here? It's a technology called natural language processing, or NLP for short. Now, don't let the name intimidate you. In simple terms, it's a field of AI that basically gives computers the ability to read and understand our language, picking up on themes, sentiment, and all those crucial details just from reading a review. And this isn't some futuristic theory. It's happening right now. You've probably heard of some of the leading platforms in our industry, like Revinate or TrustYou. Well, they're built on this exact technology. They pull in feedback from all over the web and use this kind of analysis to figure out not just what guests are saying, but what they really mean.
So how does it all work? It's a pretty straightforward process. First, the AI gathers up all those scattered comments into one place. Then, the NLP engine gets to work, figuring out the sentiment. Is it positive, negative, and sorting feedback into themes like cleanliness or staff. And finally, it generates real insights, flagging trends and alerting you to issues as they happen.
Okay, but here's where things get really powerful. The true breakthrough isn't just in the guest data alone or the inspection data alone. The real game changer is when you bring them together, when you integrate that external feedback with your internal data to create one complete, holistic view. And this chart perfectly illustrates a huge problem we see all the time, what we call the perception gap. Look at this. Internally, your inspection scores are fantastic, a 98%. You think you're knocking it out of the park. But when the AI analyzes what guests are actually saying online, their sentiment about cleanliness is only 75%. That huge gap right there, that's where service opportunities are being lost.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. A room can pass every single item on your checklist with flying colors and still get a negative review. Why? Because of some tiny overlooked detail, maybe a faint smell or something that just felt out of place. It's the kind of thing a checklist will never ever catch.
So this brings us to our final, and maybe most important piece of the puzzle, how we can use this holistic view to create a powerful, self-improving cycle of service excellence. This is how you build real, lasting trust with your guests. And for all of you at Europe Hotel School London, this should sound very familiar. This idea, this feedback loop, isn't just some corporate buzzword. It is a central concept taught in service excellence modules right where you are, which just highlights its fundamental importance to modern hospitality.
And the outcomes you get from this, they are absolutely tangible. You can now provide targeted training to your staff on the specific issues guests are mentioning. You can proactively address cleaning protocols to address those overlooked details. This reinforces accountability across all your teams, and most importantly, it leads to a measurable increase in guest trust and loyalty, because guests can see that you are listening and responding.
So as you move forward in your careers, the question I'll leave you with is this. How will you, as a future hospitality leader, use these tools and concepts to bridge that critical gap between internal inspection and guest perception? Because your answer to that question will define the standard of excellence at your properties.